Hey, this is Daris D, McKinney, and this is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, and we're coming back for part three. Had a little computer crash. So let's get started. The reason why I had to do a third part, because some of the things that I was mentioning in the second part, it kind of was very important that I needed to expand on it a little bit more. So that's why it's very important that you understand why I'm naming this Don't Be Influenced, Influence Warfare, You versus Them. I know a lot of people have great value for influencers and people kind of showing their lifestyle and training and getting people in a better mindset to achieve those goals that they have achieved. And I understand that I'll say probably 90 percentile of all influencers, they really don't care about the people that don't attach to their message. They have to focus all their attention and all their outcome on the people that do gravitate to them and attach themselves to them. And I'm of the understanding, I'm taking an objective analysis on this. I'm not really taking sides on this. So that's why I want them to influencers, the podcasters, even the high society, to people to understand. I'm not taking a side for your side or the average person's side or the person that lives a life side. I'm kind of saying, okay, what's the best fluid and unconscionable way for us to interact with each other, and it kind of almost give more positive probabilities than not. I'm on the probabilities, not the possibilities. Possibilities, I have to fight myself on that. I live in like I want to accomplish this, and no matter how much out of the pocket and out of the norm it is in my circle, in my surrounding, in my community, that's what I want. So I'm gonna fixate on it, even if the life and circumstances tells you that it's possible but not probable. I'm gonna fight for it like it's easy, like it's probable, and all I gotta do is take it. I'll live my life like that, but I don't want society, or I don't think it's best for society to conduct themselves in interacting with people in this manner. Why? Because the sad part about the manosphere, the red pill, the level up culture, women deciding to not deal with anybody that's not on their level, or what level they are aspiring men to be, or whatever, is that none of that stuff is new. We actually been doing that for the last 40, 50 years. Women don't like broke men unless they can really take care of them. Women don't like men that's not making over six figure and up. Women don't like men that are not superstars. Women don't like men that don't have a presence with other people of high stature. Women don't like men that are not desired by other women. That stuff is not new. That's all been done for the last 40, 50 years. Men need to be inspired by other men in order to gain more value for themselves in their own lives, has kind of been part of society for the last 40, 50 years, or 2,000 years to 2,000 to 3,000 years. Is not new. The only difference is, since the pandemic, the ability and the actual articulation of how to communicate it is the last 5 years. So this conversation out in the opening has been for the last 5 years or so, since the pandemic. So these conversations are not new. So we have to ask ourselves, okay, what do we agree with, and what's accurate for society and humanity and male and female and the dynamics of relationships? What's accurate? What's the most probable outcome of positivity? One is you have to look at each other for their value. So you almost got to go to the most baseline understanding of a man, the baseline understanding of a woman, and start there. And what do I mean by that? I don't care what kind of man it is, if he's rich or poor or low self-esteem or high self-esteem, their ability to build a house from the ground up is the same. Their ability to labor livestock is pretty much the same. Their ability to hunt is the same. Their ability to protect is the same. And protect is not what we say protect is. I'm talking about baseline protect. You get what I'm saying? So the problem is, for the last 40 to 50 years, we psychologically traumatized each other. Maybe it was higher thinking people above us put this in our human interactions, and then it became a regular baseline how we conduct ourselves and what we give meaning to the most baseline things. Protect is, okay, let's say, I don't care if it's a guy that meets a girl at McDonald's. They have the same protect that a rich, wealthy corporate CEO has to their spouse or their family. And what is that? Okay, we make about, if you're working at McDonald's, you're making about $25,000 a year. Okay, if the woman stays home, the man has to kind of make that $20,000 to $25,000 a year. So now they have to rationalize, okay, what is our apartment? What is all the stuff that we're spending our money on? And is it enough? And if it's not enough, excuse me. If it's not enough, then what do I need to do to gain that value in order to take care of that specific thing? That's most likely what those type of people will be going through. It's the same thing with a rich person. He has decided that from what he does, he's gaining this economic value from the job that he has, so he's able to do certain things easier. Okay, but it's pretty much the same baseline. Okay, now most women are not built like you used to have. It used to be that a Cinderella story was pretty likely. It was a likely scenario that with the right money, the right circumstances, and the right glamour and the right presentation, you could clean a low poverty girl up, put her in a very luxury dress, and she would kind of stand in with the women that were from high prominence, because her features and her anatomy is baseline, logical, and balanced. Okay, and that with the right, only way you will be able to tell that she's from a low poverty family, or a family that is not in high society, or a suitable candidate to be married with a diary or something like that. A diary, that means like a nest egg that the family is preparing the daughter to go into her marriage pretty much economically standing. Okay, and that was the difference. that you could, because most women they have a, let's say 110 to let's say 110 to 135 weight class and everything like that. And I'm just saying, I want to be logical here for a second. I'm not trying to offend anybody. That was the baseline. So the chances that you couldn't like be given a charitable dress to go to a ball, that the dress that was charitable was maybe 5 years or 3 years old, and now the people that purchased that dress, they can buy new dresses and new models and everything. You could pretty much put, if well keeping, you could pretty much put that dress on a average girl or average female of that body structure, and send her into this ball and see if she can attract a high suitor. You get what I'm saying? Most likely, the Cinderella story can be given to the average female human Homo sapien. That's how it most likely was. Fast forward to now, those separations are different, okay? But the suitors are pretty much the same, meaning that it may not be in your best interest to say, I want to, like a female said, I want to marry Michael Jordan. And you're just an average person that's never been able, you can't go to the restaurants, you can't go to the gyms, you can't go to the environments that Michael Jordan would most likely pass by. He would kind of go and he would lounge at and all that other stuff. So you wouldn't be able to put yourself in a place to be a suitor, because the likelihood of you being in the world, in the actual environment that he would come across and be able to say, wow, she's pretty, or she's attractive, or she's something that I'm looking for, or that's interesting, let me talk to her, oh, we got something in common, oh, she understands my system, and or what I'm kind of looking for in a spouse and everything, okay, I'm gonna attach myself to her. The likelihood of that is slim. So you have to kind of say, okay, out of the suitors that I'm able to kind of be around, who's okay, what am I looking for here? Okay. Now, the level up culture and the influencer culture says that you get the best of whoever you're around. Whatever the circumstances around, if everybody here works at McDonald's or a fast food place incomparable to McDonald's, then find the suitor that's got a little bit more edge to him to do something more. To be a manager, to be a franchise owner. Find that person amongst all restaurant, McDonald's employees that you may feel that you want to mate with, in order to be able to utilize the purpose of a female, and a male for him to utilize the purpose of a female. That's what social influencers and everybody say. And I kind of think the best mindset is for us to kind of more be, okay, I don't want the worst for you. I don't want bad things to happen to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to come together and we're going to try to figure out, and I will kind of throw some ideas on the table that would make it that we get everything you're looking for and I can achieve everything I'm looking for to achieve. But in the midst of this, we know that the strength is get me stable, get me to where I'm what my goals are, and have me, and don't get in the way of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to execute on. You don't have to technically help me, but you got to not get in the way of it. You got to not be a negative factor to it. So the purpose of you is to be that cheerleader on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour basis to what I am trying to accomplish for protection, economics, and a lively situation. And that's how most people need to kind of come together. But we have spent the last 50 years status judging, class judging, value-wise, giving value or giving judgment to the value that's visually perceived, and it made people that are in that environment, like they are like men that are up, they're getting the women that are up, and they're getting whatever they want. The women that are up, they're maybe been able to kind of mate in marriage a person in a social class where the economic class that their parents brought them up in, they pretty much is able to keep the steadiness of the environment because that's where they come from. So when they went to college, they kind of mated and dated what is relatively normal to them. And they married what was relatively normal to them. They kind of, most of the time, they didn't really like have to find and search a bunch of people to find pretty much the baseline of type of person that they want to interact with. It was the culture of where they came from and the environment that they were, that they had to be in there. I'm saying that, like I was saying before, the average is 350 million people in America. 60 to 70% of them make from 32, I'll say 25 to $47,000 a year. Okay, that's the majority of the population of America. I don't care what you're doing. A lot of people are kind of making that baseline. When you start to go from 50 to 75, that's, maybe another 10%. Okay, then when you start to go from 100 to 200,000 to about 500,000, you're starting to mess with like 5% of the American population. When you start to deal with a millionaire, a person that make $1 million to double digit millions, like $10 to $20 million, now you're in like the 1%. You're like very tight in the 1%. We're talking about $1 million to the upper echelons of millions, the big boys, the billionaires and the trillionaires, which only close person to trillionaire so far is Elon Musk. Okay, so the reason why I mention this is because if you're saying that 75 to 80% of American population, the 350 million people that live here, are making 25,000 to about 75, 80,000. 25,000 to 75, 80,000. And now you're saying, oh, well, if a guy wasn't able to be $100,000 and up, I'm not even messing around with that. Now you kind of understand why people are so sporadically fragmented in relationships and how they conduct themselves, and baby mamas, baby daddies, all kind of degenerate, destructive relationships that are just wasn't what the person preemptively wanted to have their social structure or their parental structure or their relationship structure. And the reason why things just happen is because you're doing the most you're doing the most illogical thing by how you look at the population that you most likely will be around. So I don't think you can rewrite this. I think we're down the hill. Maybe maybe Generation Z and the generation that comes after them. Maybe they will be able to kind of somewhat and analyze this as a normal conversation, as a communication that's kind of normal to them when they're talking to people and everything, and talking to each other in a bar or in a restaurant or in friends at each other's house in a setting and everything. They will get into these conversations and evaluate these conversations. I mean, this data, and it will be a pretty much a reasonable thing to say, you know what? I want a person that wants to fight. You know, not fight to be $100,000 and up, but a person that wants to fight, and whatever the outcome is the outcome from the fight. At least I would like to have that. I will at least like to have a woman that kind of like say, hey, what's your plan? And I'm gonna be as attentive and sacrificial to that goal as I possibly could do, because I don't want to get in the way of what you're doing to achieve that. And I think, yes, I know it's a fantasy, but also I think that's a cure for how society is. So now let's go back to how it really is. I'm for people understanding that you have to focus on what you feel your value is. What are you trying to do with your life? What are you trying to do with your time? What do you find valuable? And go aggressively into that. And anybody exterior yourself, they're either complimenting that, or they're getting out of your way, or they're not being a hindering to it. Those are the only two people you ever need to interact with. People that are complimenting what you're trying to get accomplished, or they understand to not prevent it, to not hurt it, to not get in the way of you achieving it. So not so right for you to be around those people, to be friendly with those people, to engage with those people. But sometimes people like to put standards and, how can I say, limitations to what's going on with you and what you're trying to do. My life is not your life. So I may not be approaching something how you want me to approach something, because I'm a person, if I hear a person with a better idea or a better strategic structure than mine, I'm going to adopt yours. But if I look at it in the beginning, the during, and the end, or the continuation or the conclusion, doesn't have a foundation of tactical steps and tasks to get to those points, I'm not following you. I'm not listening. I'm not really going to take in your evaluation or what you think that's the standard, because it's biased. It's your standards. It's what you feel that how we should move for right now. And I always say, if you can't pay the cost to be the boss, then don't even try it. It's counterproductive to do that. So for me, I'm always looking for people to not be in the way, really. Don't get in my way. Don't hurt what I'm trying to do. Because your standard of life, what you want to happen, how you want to live, what you feel like should be a gratification today, may be a thing that puts me back a month or 2 months or half a year or 2 years or 3 years, and something I can attack aggressively right now because I have the ability to attack aggressively right now. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep like a calm and neutral and compromise a situation with people. And sometimes, most times, really, in order to accomplish something, in order to be who you are and execute on what you're trying to execute, sometimes you shouldn't be compromising. You should be saying, this is the task that needs to be done to accomplish this. And I don't care if I'm doing it at the right time or I'm not. I'm in the energy and I'm in the mood and I'm in the actual focus to execute on it right now. And you should do that. So this, because of the level up culture, because of the fragmenting of social human beings, we have become where we're trying to debate and trying to normalize segregation, or not segregation, but more independence. Okay? Individuals and your individual rights is one thing. There's another when you're trying to be independent. That means most likely you separate yourself from your family, separate yourself from your relationships and stuff like that. Why? Because most of the things you're going to be doing and most of the things that you're in the lifestyle you're going to have and the way that you look at things is independent. So it means most likely there's no room for a common likeness, or let's say like something that's value, like how can I say, something that's favorable to a partnership or a collaboration or a team. Independence means that what I want to get accomplished, what I want to do, and how I think, you have to adopt it, put it part of it's the culture of our business. It's the culture of how we run this company. It's the cultures on our decision making. It somewhat needs to come towards what I think what will most likely be the brand standard of what I'm saying is the goal in the actual package of what we're doing and what I'm doing and where we're going, and what I'm seeing are the tasks and steps and goal markers that needs to be accomplished for me in my life and my business and all that other stuff. And most people don't know, when you even work at a hotel, you're in this mindset. The way that if you're a restaurant person, if you're a front desk clerk, if you're a service attendant, if you're a restaurant hostess, if you're the chef, if you're the housekeeper, if you're the ballroom employees, if you're the sales director to the sales representatives, you kind of most likely following a person's vision for how to run this company and what they want out of it. And you're in their mindset, their brand, what they have said. That's a good way to talk about our logo. That's a good way to talk about our brand. That's the way to talk about our scents. That's the way to talk about our linen. That's the way to talk about our clothes, our uniform. That's the way to talk about our decorations. This is the way. You got a person agreeing that this is how I want the brand to be communicated. So it echoes into all these fragmented different people that's doing different job titles and everything under the hotel umbrella, but pretty much it's from a person's decision to say, this is how we want to communicate. Apple is ran how Steve Jobs wanted the brand to be, how he wanted the Apple logo to be, how he wanted the design of the actual product to be, how he wanted to sell and present the models and the actual products that will be sold this year, the structure of the stores, the structure of how commerce, how the exchange, how you pay for something, how you receive something, how it packaged, all that stuff. That all those decisions are greenlit from one person's vision of the idea of the brand. And most companies, I'll say 99% of all companies are ran that way. No matter what's going on with all the engineers and all the stuff that's going on in SpaceX or Tesla, they all kind of running it by to be approved by Elon Musk's vision of the company, the logo, the functionality of the technology and everything like that. All that stuff is ran and approved and visualized and agreed before you even go further into the idea or further into the manufacturing of it. It's agreed to by what Elon Musk sees in his head to what it is. That's how you got to run your life in this culture. Why? Because we're extremely consumers. We're extreme consumers. So that meant that most people won't have a building function because we're mostly consumers. Most people are not farmers. They are not like we have to make it. I don't want to keep jumping around because I do want to end this, but we have to make it that it's our culture for people to understand it's all right to have a McDonald's job. Just in order to kind of keep up with the economics of the world, you might have to have 2 McDonald's jobs. That's why that makes it where if you get paid $25,000, you need to get paid $50,000. If you're getting $32,000, you need to make $64,000. If you're getting $47,000, you need to make about, what's that? 90, what's that? Nope. See, now I'm not knowing how to add on my damn podcast. I'm sorry. Was it 94? Okay, I kind of knew it was in the 90s. So 94,000 and so on and so on, okay? I like I said, I think the average person is making 25 to 47,000. So that's why you're seeing that I'm kind of saying 50, you get what I'm saying? 50, 62, 94,000. You get what I'm saying? 64, I'm sorry. 94,000. So those 3 numbers that the culture needs to be that we understand in order to keep up with this consumer economic system of America, because that's what it is. We outsource so much of our productivity of who we are as citizens and American function and American success and American doing. We outsource our doing to other countries. Now they're doing the work of the world and we're kind of just consuming it. We're almost like we're like before President Trump came in to do his tariffs on everything. I'll say most of our life, most of the function of America was we wanted something, we sent it out the country to purchase it. Like we are Ford. We design it. We create it. We have manufacturing in the country, but it's cheaper for us to do it in Mexico. It's cheaper for us to do it in Canada. So we sent that out. We fire everybody or downsize or pay everybody out in a severance pay in America. And we build those factories and we build that function and the operation of doing and creating. We send that out to other countries, majorly Mexico and Canada. And then we package our own product outside the country and send it back in the country, because who's buying the most Ford cars? Americans. Who's buying the most GM cars? Americans. Who's buying the most Chrysler cars? Americans. Dodge cars? Americans. So we're selling back to us our product because we have told each other that it's successful and it's more favorable and more respectable to not work at a factory, not pick up garbage, not stock shelves, not be a cook or a fast food employee. We made the culture of doing ugly and nasty and cheap and disrespectful. Like, I could never date a person that goes and put on an apron and cook. I could never. We made it that way. So now you have to be Ramsay, master chef, in order to be respectable. You have to be Bobby Flay to be respected as a chef, as a cook. You get what I'm saying? As a person that works in a restaurant, comes home, smell like grease. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people, no matter what people may think about you, you want yourself to be at the least a how can I say, you want yourself to be double what is perceived. So I say the only way that people can buy the house they want, have the luxuries they want, they have to kind of, when I did my numbers, I seen that it was like $6,500 to get a month, to get everything that I kind of reasonably want my life to be standard at. So that was my nut, or my baseline, because that's the environment I am. That's what I'm trying to, what the goals that I'm trying to achieve, and the things that I think is going to be counterproductive if I don't bounce against that. You get what I'm saying? So in that situation, that makes me have to be aggressive in multiple ways in order to hit that number. I'm saying to the average person, don't be ashamed to be a construction worker, to be a plumber, to be a maintenance person, to be a lawn care person, to be a restaurant person, to be a store clerk, or a store stocker, or chef, or all the things that will be white collar jobs and stuff like that. You know, well, blue collar jobs, I guess that's what they would say. Don't be ashamed of doing the average work. You just gotta do double of it to get to what you're trying to get to. If you kind of having some kind of decent, like, life that you don't feel totally defeated with 25,000, imagine if you did 50. Yes, this is not the way that women are built to do this. Women are not built to kind of do like 8, 12, 16 hours of work every single day, or 5 days a week. They're not built like that. They think they are, but if they see how their life is, it's a cost to it. They're getting something taken away by doing it, by conducting themselves in this manner. Men, we could do it. We could do 16 hours. Yes, it's maybe exhaust us and stuff like that, make us tired and stuff, but our physicality is pretty built for it. We're pretty built for it. You know what I mean? So that means that you have to keep yourself within a budget. That if your man has to go out and work 16 hours or something like that, you keep yourself in a very respectable economic system where he can do that and not feel disrespected, and only feel respected. I understand this is not what the standard of the average human being is, because they're in some la-la land. They're what they call delusional. Most people are, and they living their life that way, and they conducting themselves with each other in that fashion. But I'm telling you what it kind of technically have to be like in order for us to somewhat survive with each other and not go more into the abyss of opposition. Because right now, it's the results of the last 40, 50 years. Nothing new. All we're doing is talking about what we've been doing to each other for the last 40 to 50 years. That's the only new thing about what's going on the internet, on how people talk about each other with the stuff that they post, how what the men are saying through podcasts, what the women are saying through podcasts, and how people walk up to each other and interact with each other, or don't interact with each other, or disrespect each other, all that stuff, all the violence and the disrespect and the lack of communication and a lack of being able to be humane to each other. It was how we were always treating each other for the last 40 to 50 years. We always been like this. Now it's been communicated. The average person has got a voice now. They're able to say their opinions about it. They're able to kind of vocalize how they feel about it. Okay? The reason why I'm talking about this is because I don't care about the anomalies. I always say that. I do not care about the anomalies. I should not. My point can't be how my life is, how I'm living my life, who I'm interacting in my life, and how my standards is and what my situation is and all that other stuff, because it has no relativeness to another human being that's not me. But what has a relativeness to other people that are not me? The baseline. What is the baseline function and operation and interaction that most people they're gonna have? It's highly unlikely that they won't get into a conversation or interaction with each other in this matter. What's the most baseline? And that's why I said, the problem is most people, most women, they don't want to interact with a person that they don't want to like they don't see. I need this person. Oh my God, I'm lucky if I have this person in my life. And if they don't see that, you got nothing. You get what I'm saying? So you can't hope that the girls you interact with see that. You know what I mean? And vice versa. She can't hope that the guys that she interact with sees that. You almost have to be independent and fragmented to kind of be in your own world, doing your own thing, and whoever kind of is in that environment that may be favorable to you to interact with is your interaction. But by doing that, most likely we're going to have a very destructive and damaging world, because most people you should kind of look at and say, I want to interact with this person because this is what I'm seeing, this is what I like, this is what I'm looking for, or I'm open to this interaction. If you're not open up to this interaction and you're going through some fast analyzation, like the Terminator scan, fitting, it's going to give us the outcome we already have, and it's terrible. We have a terrible social society. It's terrible. It's terrible. Two people are always better than one, especially in this path in life. This life was built for a man and a woman to fight the world together, to coexist in the world together. But that's not our culture. It's not how we think. It's not. We don't care about it. We're fighting on our own out there. So we're keeping our goals to ourselves, and we're fighting that battle by ourselves, and we're trying to accomplish it in our own way by ourselves. We're only giving people the information that they need to help us in our endeavor, and it's taking us longer to accomplish goals because we're not laying it out on the table. Why? Because everybody's trying to chop each other's head off if you do divulge the path. People trying to clock block you and hurt you and sabotage what you're doing because it is an independent world. It's an independent way of seeing. And for me, it took me a while to look at like the world like this. I kind of had a feeling about it, but I didn't want to interact to see if it was true. So I kind of made sure that I kind of had a standoff to that. I only would interact in this situation and all that. But when I became more trying to accomplish what I was going, I had to interact with people and stand my ground to see if how I was looking at stuff was more favorable for the outcome, or how they were looking at stuff was more favorable for the outcome. And when I seen that what they got going in mind is not favorable for the outcome, it's all fantasy, it's all illusion. Somebody gotta have accountability for step A to step Z, and know when we hit it, know when we took the mountain, took the hill. So when I seen that, I said, man, this is very brutal, because you're burning bridges and you're not having relationships that you wanted for the rest of your life. It's people that I wanted to have for the rest of my life. I would be okay if we worked and we did things and we accomplished goals together. And I found, no, these people got their own thing, and they always had their own thing, and they always had their own vision and their own way of looking at stuff. And what you got in mind is coming in conflict with them on a day-to-day basis. And you're going to have to manipulate them to not sabotage you. And I spent like 6 years like that. It was brutal. 2 years I was recuperating and rebuilding myself from not being destroyed, or on the threshold line of being destroyed. So I want to, and that's why I put on this preparing our mindset for 2026, is because if anything helped me in the last 2 years, it was setting a mindset of what am I trying to do, and I need to be merciful in that direction. I don't need to compromise. I don't need to debate about this stuff. I don't need to be in an analyzation. I've done that long enough. It's time to do. It's time to not compromise in what I'm doing, and do it in the fashion, in the actual. Because every time you try to do something some other way, or someone else's way, or something that's favorable to someone else, is not the outcome that you desired or what you even wanted to achieve. So it's something that's half-assed. So now you get criticized, and you get judged, and you get demoralized, and you get devalued, because the way you came at something is not the way you would come at something. It's the way that your surrounding and the culture said you got to come at it to have this momentarily outcome, and that outcome that you get for just a moment, it ain't valuable for long term. That's the problem. And when I came up and close and personal to that, I had to step back, reevaluate, rebuild, and kind of go forward. And it took me 2 years to be able to even start to go forward. So I'm telling you, I'm not saying this as theory. I'm telling you, I know how everybody life is. Everybody. A restaurant, a worker, all the way up to a corporate person, to all the way to a successful celebrity or economic person. I kind of know what they're going through, and what's the situation, and what's the separation between them. And I'm telling you, when you're doing this podcast stuff, you need to have a baseline conversation, and majority of your conversation need to somewhat land in a baseline, because that's the only way a person can take what you just said to them and apply it to their life. Even if it's like preaching to the choir, where they're already doing that, they're already making movies like that, they already think like that, their mindset is already like that, then all you're doing is affirming it and giving them something to listen to that's a part of who they are and how they think, and you somewhat can be how they would kind of say, okay, that's like-minded. You know what I mean? And I'm entertained by it, because I've been here, done that, but I like to hear the process. So that's what individual perspective is. I need you guys to get everybody out your head. Get them out your heart. Get them out your being. Don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to your community. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to your culture. Don't listen to your heroes and the people you look up to. Take all that out, and everything that comes out their mouth, everything that they told you, everything that you interact with them about, vet it. After you vet it, how those interactions was, all the things that they said, everything that ever happened, if it got value in how you move and what you're doing, then you shelf it. You put it into your memory bank. You put it into your process. You put it into your system of how you function. But things, I think we're full of stuff of how we function that is not something that we agreed to. It just became a habit. It became part of our psychosis and our trauma, of psychological trauma, of how we think of things, how we move on things, how we react to things, because there's stuff that's other people will that's been superposed into our anatomy that we haven't did a check or throw away. How they say, swipe left or swipe right. We haven't done that to everything inside our being. And I think an individual perspective articulates, and I take you guys through conversations and interactions and the way that we deal with each other and deal with the things that happen in our society and all that stuff. You evaluate it in a swipe left or swipe right, check or throw away. You know what I'm saying? And I think we, like I said, I don't have faith that we can repair our humanity to each other. I just don't have faith in that. Everything that I perceived in 2015, when I was really, really heavy doing my opinions and my podcasts and stuff, it's exactly what it is right now. I seen this stuff coming a mile away. I even communicated. I am not a shy person to communicate. I tell people, when you go in a room, you need to be like this. When you do this, your business need to be like this. When you agree to this, your functionality and what you're gonna do need to be in this mode. And man, no matter how many times I said it, no matter how many times I emphasized on it, no matter how I'm gonna say, oh, that's going outside of what we already talked about. No matter what I did, people did what they wanted to do, how they wanted to look at it, and what they felt that was the way it should go. And that wasn't for the best outcome. And if I went along with it, I would have felt in some very things that I wouldn't be able to stand up tall and be proud of as we speak right now. So that's what I'm telling you guys about an individual perspective. You need to know how to check yourself, but most of all, check anything exterior yourself. You are your answers. You are your answers. Because in English dialect and reading and comprehension and being able to kind of evaluate something and come to a conclusion that will be favorable to you and favorable to what you're trying to accomplish, and to be something that's more positive than negative, you kind of need a 5th grade, 9th grade, up to a 9th grade education, and you got it. You pretty much got it. But we traumatize ourselves to make ourselves feel like we don't even have to listen to ourselves because we're not smart enough. We're not successful enough. We're not a leader enough or something grander enough. And I think that people have really hurt themselves by doing that to their lives, doing that to how they function. You are your best answer. It's noise in your life and around you, in the peers that you have. There's just a bunch of noise that fights you from fighting for you, listening to you, evaluating you, and giving yourself the answers you already know. You already know. Okay? So that's an individual perspective, and I kind of wanted to kind of come in and talk about that, because it's important for us to know how to get an individual perspective in, how I'm processing these conversations of the Epstein or Donald Trump as president or relationships or Charlie Kirk's assassination, the economics of our country and everything like that, or the race stuff and the valuation of how we all talk about this stuff when we're doing reaction videos and all that stuff like that. I need you to understand, I am looking at it so brutally objective, but because I do that so fast and automatic, I'm communicating something that will hold up for decades to come. You would never hear something that I even said in this episode where it doesn't hold up to a back and forth scrutiny, a Socrates sclerotic method. So, my name is Daris D. McKinney. Please do me a favor, you guys. You got to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. I know I'm talking to myself right now. I know because there's nobody's watching me. It's a ghost podcast. It's a ghost channel. But I'm hoping that you guys like show some love, hit that subscribe, share, and like the video. Like the video. I need the engagement. Okay, look, you guys. We're about to do this. We got to turn it up. I'm gonna have some interviews on here. I'm gonna bring people in here and discuss things with them and stuff like that, you know. And like I said, I'm doing this with my own time and money, and I'm not a rich person. I'm obviously, with the small following or non-existent following that I have, I'm not a wealthy person and stuff, or a person with economic high value. So once, like, there are podcasters that are doing this like 4 times a day, and then they chopping up the videos and they doing all kind of other stuff, but they had $250,000 to throw at this to start, and that gave them a cushion to kind of go day after day for months for time. I have to figure out in my life how to do it consistently, and that's why I said started a couple of days ago and said, hey, you guys gonna hear from me every single day, and I'm gonna come in here and try my best to give you guys an hour to 2 to 3 hours. And this will be the 3rd episode to Don't Be Influencing World, You versus Them. It's the part 3, and then I think the next time you see me, I'm gonna be doing some reaction to some videos and stuff like that, and I'm gonna try my best before January 1st, 2026 come here to do a rundown of 2025 things I haven't reacted to, and things that I feel like I want to give my opinion to it, to put it into the archives and stuff like that, and that I have given my opinion to, and I'm hoping that I gain a hell of an audience very, very soon. But no matter what, I'm fighting for the individual perspective of all people, and no matter what, I do want to have something that people can kind of go to and listen to some guy from Michigan, Detroit, and kind of Detroit, Michigan, bloviate about independence, individual mindset. And I am against independence of living, because you need family, you need friends, you need teams, you need like-minded people to go to battle. No real battle and war is won solo. None. You need some other people out there on the battlefield with you. But I'm seeing that in order to get any kind of improvement or forward momentum in your life, sometimes it's best for you to isolate, you know, and keep everything at an arm's length or a distance to it has purposefulness to be around, for you to be around and stuff like that. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, a lot of the people that are very successful, even if they were around employees and their staff and all the other stuff, they had a isolated, individual, independent purpose. What they want was the goal, and everybody needed to shift to that. So I know that that's how life, or most likely I will be successful in life, but I'm trying to communicate in a way of sharing with people the way that you have to be in your mind in order to have positive outcome. So first, you have to know, in order for you to be able to be stable enough to take care of your family, your wife, your kids, your staff, your community, is you have to develop an individual perspective. You have to know how to make sense of you, make value of you in order to give it stability to help. That's how that is. No one gains value off of nothing. They gain value off something being valued, and everybody gain value of that thing that's been valued. People get a job because somebody had an ideal of a company that they did whatever it took to bring that company to existence, and everybody, to ensure that company's existence, gravitated to that company to give them value in their lives. That's how this works in everything, you guys. So I know I'm a little bit too long. I wanted to end that in an hour, but my name is Daris D. McKinney. Please like and subscribe, follow, whatever it is on the platform that you're seeing this at. And let's get a mindset for 2026. My name is Daris D. McKinney. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Check you out.